Nevada gun laws went into effect yesterday, making things easier for gun owners who want more concealed weapons. 8 News Now reporter Sri Harvin joins us now with more from the gun store in Las Vegas, who says this might make Nevada a safer place. What'd you find out, Sri?
That's right, Chris. Well, one of the laws actually cuts out extra paperwork and red tape if you have a concealed weapons permit. Basically, if you qualify for one revolver or one semi-automatic handgun, you can carry any revolver or semi-automatic handgun you want. Now, under the old law, if you had one gun on your permit and wanted to add a different gun a year later, you'd have to re-qualify with all the paperwork. We spoke with Sean Gilbert, a firearms instructor at the gun store, who says this makes things a whole lot easier for Nevadans, but most importantly, could make our state safer.
Every state that has adopted a CCW law, crime has gone down in that state. Well, an armed society is a polite society, right? I mean, if you're Joe criminal, aren't you going to think twice about either A, breaking into someone's house knowing they might have a gun in there, or bothering the guy on the street thinking, okay, he might have a CCW, so I'm going to pick an easier target?
Well, Gilbert says the new law could also create more business for gun stores in the Valley. The second law that went into effect allows people from out of state to come to a Nevada gun store and purchase a gun they want. Under the old law, you couldn't walk out of the store with it, but you would have to have it shipped to your dealer. Chris? All right.
Some bad news. The economic event that really turns life upside down in recent years has not been recession, but inflation. Only a fairly small percentage get unemployed in a downturn. Only a much smaller percentage have their homes foreclosed upon. But when serious inflation hits, it hits almost everyone. It started this time with industrial commodities, which have now risen spectacularly after their lows in 2008 and 2009. The rise has largely been fed by demand from the Far East. This is the proverbial butterfly's wings that started a typhoon. Then came agricultural commodities, again pulled up by demand from China. Now we're getting serious crop shortfalls in China. U.S. crop forecasts are also disappointing, and there are huge crop problems in Australia, South America, and Russia. Corn, wheat, rice, and other foodstuff prices are just going wild. And as we all know, gold and silver have had an amazing rise, although a recent pullback. But most important of all, the Fed is just shoving money out the door as fast as it can, creating piles of cash in banks. So far, the banks are mostly hoarding that money, which we don't like because it doesn't help the recovery. But if the banks ever start lending that money and the recovery begins in a big way, the pieces will be in place for serious inflation. It may happen even without the banks opening their vaults. Food prices at the grocery store are astronomical. Gasoline has shot up. Airfares are up. We used to think we could not have high unemployment and high inflation at the same time. The experience of the late 70s and early 80s showed that's not the case. It even has a name, stagflation. This causes political and economic stress. Rising prices were major causes of the recent unrest in Egypt. Now it sure looks as if it's going to get worse, and it could be serious here too. I'm not predicting it in a big way here. I'm just saying the tea leaves are ominous, and if it comes, it won't be pretty. Once it starts, inflation is incredibly painful to stop without stopping the recovery too. I told you it was bad news.
Do you have any food reserves in your home right now? How long could you provide food for your family if the food supply was cut off? A month? A week? 3 days? Wouldn't you feel better if you had the necessary reserves? Have you ever noticed that the more advanced we get, the less prepared we are? Many things that defined life only 100 years ago are so convenient today that we don't really think about what would happen if that convenience were gone. Consider how we get our food. We just go down to the grocery store and grab a few things. But what if something happened that interrupted the food supply to the store? How long would it take for the shelves to be wiped out? What would you do? How long could you and your family survive? You know, for all the other important things in our lives, we have a variety of professionals, from mechanics to doctors, to help cover our bases. Why don't we also have a food professional? Food is our greatest dependency. Yet most of us find ourselves unprepared for the uncertainties that lie ahead. Why take chances? Why not do something about it? You've already taken the first step. Keep moving forward with this tour, and we can help you put a plan together.